Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out
Mhm.
recently, and I just wrapped it up a couple days ago. And this game is very odd. It is incredible, but it's a game of weird expectations. So I think we saw that first
Mhm.
trailer, and everybody's mind was like blown, like, oh my god, open world, crazy, ridiculous Kirby. And
Yeah,
it's
I
really
feel like
just,
they didn't shy away from that. I feel like they kind of left it open for us to interpret it that way for
yeah,
sure.
because there's no hint of anything else. And then you start playing the game, you're like, oh no, this is just your normal run of the mill Kirby game. It just happens to look really pretty, have some cool environments, do those same type of things that every Kirby does, where it's like, oh no, we just got a little world map that you're just going boop 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 from level to level. There's no overworld, none of there's kind of an overworld, not really, but
Mhm.
just kind of going through it. It's a normal Kirby game, and it's a really probably the best Kirby game I've ever played.
Mhm.
But it's just a normal Kirby game, and I think that's one of those things that almost threw me off for a second when that world map pops up. It's like, oh, we're not doing open world Kirby. Okay, that's
Is it
different.
just like a level select when you're saying world map? You're saying it's like just
Yeah, just like
a
a
level
level
select sort
select.
of thing.
Like
Okay.
you go. So the way the game opens is you have your little cutscene. You end up, if you played the demo, it's basically that first intro level there. You end up in the Forgotten Land. You do like one quick little thing, and then once you finish the level, it pops you out, and it's like, okay, here's world 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, and
Oh, it's
then
that. Oh, it's
and then
that.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
it's that, and then boss gate at the end. You did your 4 levels. You collected enough of the little guys, and boss gate opens. Do that, and we're in world two. World two, 1-2-1.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that was one of the things that surprised me more so, like you said, from the marketing, because they kind of just went all in and like, look how big this is.
Mhm.
And the levels are pretty big. You can do a lot of things in the levels. There's lots of secrets. It's almost more Super Mario 3D World than
Sure.
Super Mario Odyssey, where it's like, okay, this is a 3D game. There's different
Mhm.
places I can kind of go on the level, but it's still a very linear path,
Mhm.
very front to back level. Maybe a boss in the middle, maybe a boss at the end, but just your standard level, which again kind of took me from a surprise because just again that initial push felt very different, and that's not really what we got here.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it did kind of. It's is Mario Odyssey an action adventure game? I don't know what you would describe that, but no, I definitely got that impression. I think when I started playing the demos, and I kind of realized it was just kind of what you're saying, that level based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying it's like just basic, just normal Kirby game. Doesn't the? I mean, the 3D thing is like that's the big part. Was like, oh shit,
Yeah,
it's 3D Kirby. So I mean, that's kind of. I mean, does that add any wrinkles, or is it just kind of like they did the thing where it's like exactly what you think a 2D Kirby in 3D is now. That's what it is.
it almost feels like one of those things where I feel like I've almost done it before, and this just feels really good. Because I think a
Oh,
lot
okay,
of times
sure,
when you
yeah,
see that transition from 2D to 3D, you get that feeling of like, whoa, like we took some risks here. We're trying something new. Or is
yeah,
this after maybe the first or second level? I was just kind of like, oh yeah, no, I think they did this before because this feels really good. Like this
sure,
can't be their first
sure,
go
sure,
around
sure.
at this. Maybe I'm pretty sure there was one that was kind of like this, but there's not. So it is very fun. It's a
Mhm.
great game. I love it. It's just one of those things where you have that expectation going in, and I feel like I
Yeah,
was not expecting level 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. I was
sure.
expecting more of that seamless, that connected. The demo does show you a little bit of that, but I was like, okay, this is a demo. I'm sure they're just piecemealing it to give us an idea. But the couple new things that are here are just kind of stupid and fun.
Mhm.
Mouthful mode, which if you saw
Yeah.
the
Oh
trailers
God.
where you eat the car,
Yeah.
for the first maybe half of the game, it's super fun just because all it does is it just puts a little prompt up that just says mouthful when you walk
Yeah.
past something. So I don't want to give them all away because there's some like really goofy ones, but like there's one where I literally, it was maybe the second or third level, I was just walking past an old like bank of lockers, and it pops
Yeah.
up. You eat the bank of lockers, and then you shake the control stick and they go and it falls down, and he spits the lockers out, and it's a little secret path.
So you don't know. So you actually don't really know what is and what isn't. Oh, that's
No,
so
the
fun.
the first like half of the game, you get these like weird stumble into moments where you're like walking past, you're like, oh, and then you just get the little button prompt, and it's like, oh yeah, push B for
Yeah.
mouthful mode, and you're like, what? I can do that? Okay, because there's the obvious ones, the cone, the car, the couple other ones that they showed, but that first initial half the game, you get a few of those as you go through. By the end, you're kind of like, okay, I kind of get the idea of what is, what isn't,
Sure.
where they're positioned, that thing, but initially it's just this kind of ridiculously goofy feeling of like, okay, I guess I just swallowed a group of lockers, and that's how I got past my secret here.
I do feel like because I felt this with like Robobot. It's like the first half of the Kirby game. I mean, it's not the second half is bad or anything, but the first half just has so many like surprise of things you're not
Yeah.
expecting. Like Robobot specifically, it's like there's a car level that you're just like not
Yep.
expecting at all. Where and like there's like a shooting level where you're in a plane. You're just like, holy shit, what is this game? I'm glad they kind of kept that because I think that's the thing that I enjoyed about Kirby games in general is like while they're easy, I think they do a really good job of keeping the surprises
Yep.
coming, which I think like a lot of easy games I don't find super interesting because it's like it's an easy game. It's just kind of like any other game, but this one's easy. But this one's like, well, it's easy, but there's all these fun little surprises
It's creative.
after and over. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
creative. It's creative, simple fun, and it's one of
yeah.
those things I think you only get with Kirby. Is kind of the only one that does it. It's
Mm-hmm.
very specific in the. We're just gonna kind of keep you guessing. We're gonna play around with this. We're gonna do whatever we want, and it's just gonna kind of happen and enjoy it and have a good laugh at it. And
Mm-hmm.
the enjoyment is more from the world design and the really tight, refined gameplay and just the general things that you're doing. I think is where the fun comes from more so than like, okay, this is a challenging level.
Yeah.
Gonna be honest, I think I died less than 10 times front to back in this game. It is not a challenging game. There was no
Sure.
part where I was like, huh, where do I go? What do I do? It's straightforward the whole way through. So it, like you're saying, I think it being an easy game, it does those things, and that's the hook. The hook
Mm-hmm.
isn't look how difficult this is. The hook isn't look how challenging this is. The hook isn't can you figure this out. The hook is just we're gonna have some fun and we're gonna enjoy it. There's some secrets here and there that you might miss here and there. I think about towards the end of the second group of levels is where I stopped like just running into secrets without really trying.
Mm-hmm.
Where they really started. Okay, we're gonna put those aside. We're gonna hide those. We're gonna make you do some different things. But it's just fun.
Yeah. What I'm curious about the world of it because when I play the demo, it's I don't want to say it's just The Last of Us, but it's kind of The Last of Us world. I assume they kind of explain. Well, they explain it probably a Kirby way, where somebody explained it, so then Kirby has no idea what's going on. But it, like, is the world is it that kind of like Last of Us world? The entire try not to get away from spoilers. Is it that kind of like dilapidated future that's super colorful for some reason? Like, is that the setting of the game?
Essentially, you get your like ice world. Like I think it's like the fourth area is like on the top of mountains, so everything's icy. You get your like volcano-y level, world level. So it's a mix of like that post-apocalyptic and colorful, fun platformers, and it kind of bounces back and forth a little bit. So like in the volcano world, like the first part is you like climbing up part of the volcano, and the second part is like an underground lab in the volcano world
Oh,
with
that's
all
very
that stuff
cool.
kind
That's
of
cool.
mixed in. So it does a really cool job of like setting up the levels, making them interesting, and really giving you different things to kind of explore and look at.
So is there kind of like not story is not the right word, but you said like because I do like when not all games do this, but level based games, there's kind of like a story within like going from like 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Are they all like your volcano example? You're saying like you're climbing up the mountain in 1, and then by 3 you're in this thing, and then by 4 maybe you're doing something else. Is it kind? Are they all kind of set up that way or no?
No.
No.
I think, and I just played Planet Robobot too, and I think Kirby games do a lot of this where it's like you get your initial setup, you kind of run through a couple worlds, and then you just kind of get like heavy lore dump. Oh man, here's what's going on. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's the story, and like that lasts like hour and a half.
Sure. Oh yeah,
It,
that's
it does
fair.
that where
Yeah.
like the first like 45 minutes is like, oh, let's explain Waddle Dee Town and Kirby's in this new world, and here's all this stuff that's going on in this world, and then you're just like, all right, go, go get the rest of the Waddle Dees. You got to get them. And then I think towards the end of there's 6 or 7 worlds. It's around the end of World 4. Something happens, and then Kirby's got to go make that right. And then like the last world, the last like 5 levels, you get like the whole big like, oh, here's like really what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah.
This whole time.
Did,
So
yeah.
yeah, not much story
Did
to
they-
it, but
Yeah, did they do the thing? My favorite part, not ever like not my favorite part. One of my favorite parts in Kirby games is when there's a bad guy giving a really long monologue, and Kirby like kind of only sort of understands what's going on. Do they do that?
once or twice.
Okay,
Once
that's
or
good.
twice for sure. Once or twice for sure. So a couple other just kind of fun things. This game has a bunch of mini games, and they come in 2 sets. So the first thing I want to talk about is what's called Treasure Road, which is as you go through these levels, there's little side levels that are all like time challenges with specific
Oh, cool.
powers. So like one you get the bomb one, and the first challenge you get with the bomb one is, okay, you've got to bowl the bombs down these ramps, hit the switches, and that's how you get powers to upgrade, or resources to upgrade your abilities. So you're
Oh, that's
bowling
fun.
with bombs, you've got the hammer, and you've got to like smack all the little pegs around this thing to keep knocking things out as you jump. And they're really fun. They're time challenges. They get way, way difficult by the time you get to the end, especially to try and get target times, which give you a little bonus. But they're just
Mhm.
really fun little creative ways to use each of Kirby's powers. So all of the base level ones get one, all of the upgrade levels get one. And they're just kind of these fun little things that pop up here and there that you can kind of just play with the powers a little bit. And
Mhm.
they also do mini games in the town, which has your
Mhm.
like fishing, a couple other ones. The one I want to talk about is you work in a restaurant. So there's a restaurant in Waddle Dee Town, and
Okay.
it's literally like Kirby has to help them with the lunch hour rush. So you get in there, and it's literally like a line of Waddle Dees like hanging out there, and they just come up and
Yeah.
like in their little like thought bubble, some will like pop up instantly. Some it's like very clear having a hard time deciding on the menu,
Oh,
like,
that's very cute.
and you have to pick from like the three or four options of what you're gonna give them. And like,
Yeah.
so it's just like a minute, how many of these Waddle Dees can you feed? And they're dumb fun mini games, and there's probably
Yeah.
5 or 6 of them around Waddle Dee Town that are a ton of fun to do. I I really can't explain enough just how much simple fun this game is. You're not going to get a
Hmm.
challenge. You're not going to get stressed. It's just a good time to just sit down and play a game.
That's. I'm curious about like the Waddle Dee town because it sounds like it's because to me that was like one of the big new wrinkles was the town itself. So
Mm-hmm.
is it like an explorable thing or is it just kind of like it grows and you how does that town work?
It grows. So you start off, and I'm trying to remember when you start off. I think when you start off, there's like a theater to watch any cutscenes that you've done, and then the
Hmm.
upgrade shop, which we'll talk about upgrades in a second, because those are like I don't know how we're like 5-10 minutes into this video without talking about them since they're so cool. And the upgrade shop, and then as you get X number of Waddle Dees, so like you walk around and it has like construction zone. It's like you need 50 Waddle Dees in order to help you build this
Oh, okay.
building, and like once you
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
80, you'll have enough people to do this. So as you play through, it does that. There's also a couple points like when you beat a few worlds where it just does like a very clear natural expansion. Like this is going to happen no matter how you've done. We hit this point in the story, you
Oh,
gain
sure,
this.
yeah.
But there's some wandering around. There's some stuff hidden around there. It's not big. But if you like
Hmm.
float up to the roof, you can find a couple like coins and things like that. And there's a few extras scattered. And there's mini games. There's the restaurant, you can buy items to bring with you. There's an upgrade shop. There's a buff shop. There's an arena to do
Hmm.
like combat challenges. So it works more as like your hub world just to kind of do anything, but to actually get to
Hmm.
the levels, you have to like pop back out to like your world map to jump into a new
Oh,
one.
weird. I thought that'd just be like I thought it'd be kind of like an actual hub. Like you go to like you have to walk to World 2 or walk to World 3, but really it's just you. Oh,
Yeah, again
it's a little
and that's
disappointing,
what I
but
want to start with, because I think that is the expectation that everybody had coming into this, is that there would be that interconnectivity between everything. The other thing that I absolutely love about Waddle Dee, and this is just a dumb thing that I think I like, is when you land there, there's this like weird looking Waddle Dee just sitting on a bench, and you walk up to him, and he is, quote, wise Waddle Dee, and he literally will just tell you stats about your playing. So it's like, hey, want to learn some things today, Kirby? And you're like, yup. And it's like, you've used the fire up power 72 times.
oh, it's
Worldwide, the fire power up time has been used
oh, that's
1.7
funny.
million times. It's just like stupid stuff like that. And every time you
Yeah,
click on him, he gives you like different stats. Like, this many of these have been eaten. People have used mouthful mode this many times. This many Waddle Dees have been. It's
that's fun.
stupid. And it's one of those weird little things that I like every time I went to Waddle Dee Town, I had to go talk to the little stats guy. Just like, I want to know a couple. Just give me like three. Just give me three.
That's cool. No, that's cool. I was actually most curious about that town though because it just seemed like unnecessary but very neat. Just kind of a neat fun idea of having this kind of hub to keep going back to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you could play the whole game with really not touching any of it.
Hmm.
It is just kind of a like, hey, if you want to explore some things, you want to do a couple mini games, it's here, but
Hmm.
you really don't need to ever touch it. So I guess the last thing that should have been the first thing that I want to talk about are the upgrade abilities,
Yeah.
which is something new here too. They're amazing. So one of my
Okay.
issues with Kirby games is I think by the time, again, we kind of talk about that halfway point in Kirby, where that
Yeah.
front half is so much discovery and the back half is so much like, all right, I got it, let's go.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
As you go through, you can find blueprints. They're one of the collectibles, and every time you get a blueprint, it gives you the ability to upgrade one of the powers you have
Hmm.
to something more. So like you go from just your normal fire where you're just like spitting like a line of fire out and just in around, to volcano fire where you're throwing like volcanic rocks out kind of in that same
Mhm.
path, but they do a little bit more damage. They go a little bit further, to a dragon fire where all of a sudden now you've got like
Okay.
this super one, and you jump and you do like your Kirby like lights himself up in this big like fire looking dragon and flies around and hits people.
Yeah.
It works so well because it gives you that like ooh fun new power as you go
Hmm.
throughout the game. So once you eat the hammer guy in an old Kirby game, every other
Yeah.
guy with the hammer is going to give you the same power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he gives you that for the first 2 or 3 worlds. Oh, I'm going to go upgrade it. Okay, now my
Hmm.
hammer does something just a little bit different for the next world or two. And then, okay, I can upgrade it a third time. Now it's going to do something even just a little bit more different. And it doesn't, they're not game changing like, oh my God, this is the
Hmm.
craziest thing I've ever. Like the hammer goes from like just a normal hammer to a hammer with a little bit more range to like it's a giant rock on a stick that just like you can
Sure.
charge up
That's
and
cool.
just knock people out. But it really makes you want to play with everything, see the way they go. The needle power turns basically into Katamari, where you're like can pick stuff up and throw it at
Ooh, that's
it.
fun.
It's called the clutter needle, and it's like literally like when you turn into
Oh,
the needle,
that's
it's just got
cute.
a bunch of crap, and you can roll over stuff and pick it up and throw it. But it's just it's fun like that. It makes you want to go back and mess with every power, because I think again in Kirby you kind of get that. I like the hammer. Whenever I can find the hammer, I'm gonna use the hammer.
But I guess my question is though, but if I like the hammer in level 1, is there a chance that level 2 is so different that I'm not going to like the hammer in level 2?
No,
Or okay, no, okay.
they're 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 similar enough. They're like the hammer specifically. Like most of the thing with the hammer is speed, like how fast your hammer swings. So I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
see you like for the third one, it does slow down a little bit, but it does like triple or quadruple the damage that you were doing
Damn it.
before.
Yeah,
So there's minor things like that, but most of them are consistent enough that you're really only going to notice like a essentially an area difference or a power difference in
yeah.
terms
Hmm.
of what you're doing, more so than a
Oh, okay. It's total mechanical
completely
difference.
completely changing what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. No,
The
damn.
the
Damn
only other
it.
thing with that is because you can kind of unlock these as you go, they do make
Yeah.
the game substantially easier.
I would, yeah, I was wondering.
There was one boss I got to, and I'd gotten like the full upgrade. I think it was the hammer, and like I went and I did like the charge up shot with the hammer, and I think like 3 charge up shots with the hammer killed like an end of world boss.
And you're playing on like the hard mode, which is
Oh
even
yeah,
called. It's got a scary name too. I remember for the demo, it
wild
was like
mode,
wild mode.
wild
Yeah,
mode. But
it's funny.
the game is fun. If you just want to have a good time, you can't go wrong with it. Like it's
Hmm.
again, it's not gonna challenge you. It's not gonna like make you want to
Hmm.
throw your controller through the TV. It's just gonna be a damn good time. And I think it's a super enjoyable game in every respect. It does what
Hmm.
Kirby should be doing. It borderline perfects the Kirby formula. Again, I really don't have a complaint about it. Like the only negative things I
Hmm.
can say are that it wasn't quite what I expected, but that's not
Yeah.
a knock against the game, because by the time you're an hour in, you're loving what they're doing so much that it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It is in my mind the best Kirby game that's been made, and I really really hope we kind of keep messing with this 3D Kirby because it's really really well done.
Cool. I will
But
probably buy this.
look forward to review part 2. We are Workforce Gaming. You can subscribe to us wherever you're listening. Follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming, and we will see you later.
Bye.